Greetings, my loves. Happy 19th of June. Today is a very special day for a lot of reasons. And a lot of people have already spoken about how it has significance to both the Swedenborgian community, because it is, of course, the new church's birthday, as Swedenborg tells us, and also to the African American community, and because it is celebrated as the day that the slaves were set free. And a lot of people have talked about this beautiful coincidence, and I wanted to kind of hold that and then go a little bit further. I want to talk about cause and effect this week. And I think that Swedenborg says a lot of really interesting things about cause and effect, but one of the central things that comes up over and over again is this idea that the spiritual world is the world of cause and the natural world is the world of effects. It's the world of results. So something exists first because it has spiritual existence, because it has existence on a level that can't be directly measured or experienced, but is on a level that you experience as a vibe, as an energy, as an interior sphere, as Swedenborg would say it. So we have these two events, the coming of the new church and the real world liberation of enslaved peoples. And of course, neither of these are final events. There's more slaves alive today than any other time in history. And the new church is certainly not a guaranteed thing. So we have an illustration on our hands. We have a myth that we have to deconstruct. So all history is myth. And I think when we look at the world today, it's very easy to get disheartened. It's easy to feel a sense of despair that things are doomed or getting worse, that we're living in some post-apocalyptic worst case scenario. But then there's the spiritual level. And what we see in history is these two events happening 100 years apart show how ideas start in the spiritual, and they inevitably manifest when they become big enough, when they become real enough, when they come to the surface. Spiritual realities have to manifest. So when you're looking around at the world and you're seeing all the misery and all of the pain and all of the ignorance and all of the confusion, the looking, the observation comes from an internal state. And that internal state is the state that's connected to the spiritual world. And that's the cause that will eventually bring about a real world effect. And it might take 100 years. It might take 1,000 years. But it will never happen if we're not spiritually aligned with it. And that's what freedom is. Real freedom is the internal capacity that whatever your external circumstances are, whatever's going on with you, is met with a fundamental internal liberation. And that's what it is to be human, what it is to be alive, is to meet whatever your circumstances are from a state of internal freedom. And so maintaining that attitude of internal liberation is in many ways the most revolutionary thing we can do. That inner freedom, that spiritual freedom, is something that can be taken away from us, in fact. And I think the illustration that Swedenborg gives is this illustration of the life of Christ. That Christ comes to earth, Christ manifests, the divine human manifests in the world at the point when our freedom is threatened, when our freedom is taken away. And so Christ is not whoever his followers have made him out to be. Rather, I would say he is the point at which a chaotic system spontaneously and internally, from its own nature, manifests as order. And that's what we have to do in our real world lives and our real world societies, is we have to be driven by every single individual's unique prerogative to exist as a free agent. And when we can really honor that, however it looks, even if it makes us uncomfortable, do what thou wilt. Freedom. And when we truly acknowledge that, I think that's the first step to working together. There's a balance between an internal freedom and an external cooperation. It's our nature to cooperate. It's our nature to build societies that take care of people, that liberate instead of enslave. And I don't want to get too political, but I always get political on June 19th. And I come back over and over again to the spiritual practice, the living practice of internal breathing, which is the living practice of internal liberation. Because it liberates us from death, which is the ultimate shackle. So when we say that the new church has come, internally we are being freed from death. We are being freed from this idea that death is a prison, that death is a sentence. And at the same time, we are being freed from the idea that heaven is a reward. Because true freedom is not just freedom from death, it is also the freedom from the oppression of time. And the only way to get free from time is through the now. So when we say that our spiritual practices are done for the sake of liberation, the path out is in. Peace and power, my loves. Keep breathing.